16th East Coast Convention of Narcotics Anonymous. The miracle continues. My name is Deron. I am an addict.
Hey, Deron.
Clarity statement. In keeping with the focus of unity found in the 12 steps and the 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous, we ask that you use the NA language of recovery. That is, we ask that you refer to our disease as addiction. We identify simply as addicts. We refer to our time in the program as clean time or recovery. This is not done to be different, better than, or controversial, but rather because First Step shifts the focus from any specific drug to the disease of addiction. This allows the process of recovery to occur. This enables us to have a single focus on the unity necessary for recovery. Any labels that imply specific drugs or more than one disease dilutes the sole purpose of unity called for in our first tradition, and it may cause that unity to be lost. This statement is offered in the spirit of NA unity. The purpose of this request is to help provide an atmosphere of recovery, where the simple, non-confusing, and life-saving message of Narcotics Anonymous can be heard. Welcome. The East Coast Convention of Narcotics Anonymous 16th Committee of Pittsburgh, PA invites all members to join together in celebrating the gift of recovery. We have found that miracles happen. Any clean addict is a miracle, and keeping the miracle alive is an ongoing process of awareness, surrender, and growth. It is available to us all. Basic text, 6th edition, page 87 and 90. If you are new to NA program, we suggest that you keep an open mind, and you too can experience what we have come to know and now believe. The miracle continues. Learning to help others is a benefit of Narcotics Anonymous program. Remarkably, working the 12 steps guides us from humiliation and despair to acting as instruments of our higher power. We are given the ability to help a fellow addict who no one else can. We see it happening among us every day. This miraculous turnabout is evidence of a spiritual awakening. Basic text, 6th edition, page 51. Just for today, you never have to use again. Registration, this is a registration-only convention. All money generated will be used for the purchase of NA basic text for jails and prisons along the East Coast. Please register. Registration tables are located in front of the lobby of the Sewell Center. Anonymity. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. Serenity Keepers will be in the black and gold t-shirts and can be found throughout the convention grounds. They will also help with any additional needs you may have. Please bring all readings to the front of the meeting. Would you please help me open this meeting with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom. May we please have the reading of Who Is an Addict?
Hello, family. I'm Lizzie, and I am an addict.
Lizzie.
Who's an addict? Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. We know. Our whole life and thinking was centered in drugs in one form or another. The getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. We live to use and use to live. Very simply, an addict is a man or a woman whose life is controlled by drugs. We are people in the grips of a continuing and progressive illness whose ends are always the same: jails, institutions, and death.
Thanks, Lizzie. May we please have the reading of how it works?
An addict named Mark. How it works. If you want what we have to offer and are willing to make the effort to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. These are the principles that made our recovery possible. 1, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives would become unmanageable. 2, We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made decisions to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, we made lists of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made a direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, we continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. 11, we sought for prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. It sounds like a big order, and we can't do it all at once. We didn't become addicted in one day, so remember, easy does it. There is one thing more than anything else that will defeat us in our recovery. This is an attitude of indifference or intolerance toward spiritual principles. 3 of these that are indispensable: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. With these, we're well on our way. We feel that our approach to the disease of addiction is completely realistic, for the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. We feel that our way is practical, for one addict can best understand and help another addict. We believe that the sooner we face our problems within our society and everyday living, just that much faster do we become acceptable, responsible, and productive members of that society. The only way to keep from returning to active addiction is not to take that first drug. If you are like us and you know that 1 is too many and 1,000 is never enough. We put great emphasis on this, but we know that when we use drugs in any form or substitute one for another, we release our addiction all over again. Thinking of alcohol as different from other drugs has caused a great many addicts to relapse. Before we came to NA, many of us view alcohol separately, but we cannot afford to be confused about this. Alcohol is a drug. We're people with the disease of addiction who must abstain from all drugs in order to recover.
Thanks, Mark. 12 traditions.
My name is Rosalind. I'm an addict. Hi, everybody. The 12 traditions of NA. We keep what we have only with vigilance, and just as freedom for the individual comes from the 12 steps, so freedom from our groups springs from our traditions. As long as the ties that bind us together are stronger than those that would tear us apart, all will be well. 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as He may express Himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. 3, the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or NA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. 6, an NA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the NA name to any related facility or outside enterprise lest problems of money, property, or prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every NA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Narcotic Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, NA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Narcotic Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the NA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relation policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. 12, and an enemy is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Understanding these traditions comes slowly over a period of time. Pick up information as we talk to members and visit various groups. It usually isn't until we get involved in service that someone points out personal recovery depends on NA unity, and that unity depends on how well we follow our traditions. The 12 traditions of NA are not negotiable. They are the guidelines that keep our fellowship alive and free. By following these guidelines in our dealings with others and society at large, we avoid many problems. That is not to say that our traditions eliminate all problems. We still have to face difficulties as they arise. communication problems, differences of opinion, internal controversies, and troubles with individuals and groups outside the fellowship. However, when we apply these principles, we avoid some of the pitfalls. Many of our problems are like those that our predecessors had to face. Their hard-won experience gave birth to the traditions, and our own experience have shown that these principles are just as valid today as they were when these traditions were formulated. Our traditions protect us from the internal and external forces that could destroy us. They are truly the ties that bind us together. It's only through understanding and application that they work.
Thank you,
Welcome.
We do recover.
Hi, everybody. I'm Natty Board. We do recover. When at the end of the road, we find that we can no longer function as a human being, either with or without drugs. We all face the same dilemma. What is there left to do? There seems to be this alternative. Either go on as best we can to the bitter ends, jails, institutions, or death, or find a new way to live. In years gone by, very few addicts ever had this last choice. Those who are addicted today are more fortunate. For the first time in man's entire history, a simple way has been proven itself in the lives of many addicts. It is available to us all. This is a simple, spiritual, not religious program known as Narcotics Anonymous.
Once again, I'm an addict named Deron.
Hey, Deron.
The topic of this meeting is being clean and living clean. And without anything further, I'll give you Regina.
All right.
My name is Regina.
Hey, Regina.
I like to unbegrudgingly thank the committee for inviting me to speak. I'd like to also thank all the people that, stayed in this hot room. It's small, God has a sense of humor. And so he said, I'm going to fill a room up for you. And I need you to know when I came in, being clean and living clean, like my mind is not clean. I'm mad in the mother. Because I'm hot. But one thing I know about everybody in this room, we've been in smaller rooms than this.
And hotter ones. Come on.
And we do what we do.
Now.
And my purpose for being here is to carry the message. And the message is that an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live.
Right.
And I found a new way to live.
Come on.
So I know that to be true. And my topic is living clean, staying clean, just clean. And I need you to know that I got clean through the steps. See, when I left the hill, I left that dirty way of living, but the dirt was still in me. I got out the way, but the way wasn't out of me. I left sinner, but I brought sinner with me. You know what I mean? I stopped stealing, but I still was a thief. I stopped conning, but I still would con you. And I got some principles. I can talk a little stuff with some principles.
Come on. Come on, DJ.
I can use the principles. Stick you up with the principles. But what I found out is after you work some steps, what you used to do just don't feel so good anymore. That's right. And God has a tendency of tossing and turning me. And then when I go to pray, things don't quite work out my way because I didn't quite do what God told me to do. He said, Regina, you either stay clean or you'll stay where you at. And so look, I don't know about y'all, but I went in the bathroom one night to shoot some dope. Had a handsome husband, 3 beautiful children. And I switched in and I macked out. It changed my sexual preference. So you talking about powerless? I came out a man and put hair on my chest. Bam! It really did. It did something to me. Right now, when I go to the bathroom, I leave the door open. Because I'm scared. I'm telling you, I'm scared of the bathroom. The bathroom done something to me. Right? And so, I'm getting ready to run, y'all make my move.
Share that.
And so what happened was, after it changed me, it took some work for me to go that way, and it took a lot of work for me to come out of there. And I ain't just talking about my sexual preference, I'm talking about my preferences, period. The freak, I don't know what happened. There's some things. So I wish I could just tell you that I only liked a girl. I like the bed to be crowded, 2, 3 girls, and this got crazier and crazier. You know, that's why I'm scared of you now. I'm afraid this time I might pick a Rottweiler. I'm not sure, and so I try to stay clean. I'm scared to death. They say that it gets worse. They say it gets worse. And I watched some people come back, and they didn't say it. They didn't have to say it. I said, that disease is a bad motherfucker. I seen them leave out on any kind of zeal. Acute zeal, religious zeal, and that disease will thrust them. That's why the book said we're thrusted in here. That disease will throw their ass right back in. Wham! No heels, no bus pads, no nothing. I said, maybe I ought to stay clean. And so when I go about staying clean, I got to think clean. I got to be clean. I don't loaf with certain people. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about me. I'm not going nowhere when they talking about fuck the police and I was just getting some head and all that. I hear that shit playing. I want me some head. I'm bouncing with that shit. I stay away from that shit. I try to listen to a little gospel. I'm glad they start rapping gospel. I can't listen to, have you ever been kissed from head to toe, down your back to your navel? I can't do it. You understand me? Here I go. I've been, in a couple weeks, if you clap, you're clapping for God. I'll be celebrating 10 years of God. 10 years without a drink or a drug. 10 years without an orgasm. 10 years, hey, I'm telling you, I'm ready to explode. Y'all gave me this topic, but I'm telling y'all something. I'm ready to explode. Ask me how I did it. I don't know. They said don't get in a relationship for a year. And I got in, I started going to school, I looked up, it was 3 years. Then it was 4 years, then 5 years. Then I got the title. Wasn't nobody else staying Sullivan that long. So I went for the title. I fucked the title. You don't want to. Another level of surrender. And so I'm trying to stay clean. So here I am walking around the neighborhood, Sullivan, for 10 years trying to be clean. And I see something. And I'm trying to think clean. Whoa. I'm trying to think clean. I see some things that I like. But I want to stay clean. I want to think clean. I want to live clean. I don't want to pick up nothing. The book talks about the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using, then it got a period. That means don't use nothing. Nah, period. No. But I want to use somebody wrong. Yeah. You understand me? You know, to get through. So what I've been using is ribs, chicken, as you can see. You know, I eat my way through. I get hot, I go in the restaurant, give me half a slab. No potato salad, some greens and some cornbread. But it ain't working no more.
Talk about it.
Stop working.
Come on, Gina.
It stopped working. You know, I keep a little money, put my money out, I count my money. I used to feel real good. It stopped working. Okay. I'm at the end of the road with that shit. It's not an invitation. I'm just telling you where I'm at. Now, I probably won't feel that way after the meeting. Don't get your feelings hurt. And so I'm just trying to be clean. And how I stay clean is through the steps. The steps allow me to admit that I'm powerless over my addiction, that my life will become unmanageable. Whatever that addiction might be.
There's a chair over there.
Whatever that addiction might be. And it also tells me to come to believe that a power greater than me will restore me to sanity. See, this is where I change that. This is how I get clean. The steps. The steps. I do some work. And I ain't talking about steps, I mean the steps. These steps. And it tells me to be restored, so I'll call somebody. I like to bounce things off of Angie, because Angie's a straight shooter. I told her that, Angie, I woke up feeling inadequate. Maybe I should do it. She said, all right now. Choose the wrong shit. She went on to HIV, all kinds of shit. I don't know what Angie, I said, I'm cool. She went all the way to syphilis, HIV. Well, now I'm where I like my phone off. I don't want to get nothing. Then I made that decision to turn my will, my life over to the care of God. And there's some, I don't know about y'all, but I can't get in bed without God. He's coming in. They say you get a God in your life. How am I going to do that with God, dear? What I'm thinking about. You know, I got to remember that God is so ever present in my life that He won't leave when I make that other decision. Thank you. And I took inventory. A fearless and search of moral inventory. And I'm talking about morals. I'm talking about what Mommy taught me. I'm talking about what Auntie said. I'm talking about some things in here. There's some women in here that live according to principles and morals. And I watch them. There's some brothers in here. I don't blow people's horn, but there's some people in here that I know a lot of people are after, and they don't touch them. I goddamn Georgians. You understand what I mean? Work through some shit. Shares and work through some shit. And those are my type of people to help me stay clean. You know, it's something when you work with the 10 step. I work with them. We argue all the time, but I love George. I love his spirit. I love the way he's able to say no. It lays me out when I watch the people that I love with, regardless of their time, share about inadequacies, what they could do, what they ain't gonna do. I mean, and get real about it. When I go to work, it's like going to a meeting. And they check me, I just sit back and watch. Because I know that shit's possible. I call Million and Mary and them up, they say, Regina, look, you okay? Because, you know, sometimes I don't feel like I'm okay. You mean those programs stop you from... Melanie, I want to stop fucking up, but I don't want to.
Share, Jane.
No, man. I'm like, brother, sister, pray. You feel me? Yes, I do. But this program gets so deep down in you. When you run the alarm go off. Sometimes, you know, you love the program, but God damn. And so I try to live clean. No, look, not on my, I try to help people. I try to help people. I try to speak life into people even when I don't want to. Even when I meet some people that I know don't particularly care for me, don't have my best interests at heart. They taught me that shit. I was just helping Regina. I get a sponsor. My sponsor put me on empathy. Empathy. And I ain't empathizing. So, Jay, you need to have some empathy for people. That's what happened to you. You need to put your feet in their shoes. I'm I'm sitting at me one day, girl crying. I started crying. I said, what the fuck am I crying? Because this thing works. My ass sponsor bomb, sponsor beast. But I pick a new sponsor. She's Caucasian. I said, let me go out, so I got in a meeting now. Because I want to be rounded out. I don't want black recovery. I don't want heel recovery. I don't want recovery. I want recovery. I don't give a damn if I got to go. I even hoo-hoo with the night eye. If I get back, hoo-hoo. Because I want to stay clean. Because I know if I don't do the work, I know what I'll do. I don't know what you'll do. I'm scared of me. And I got respect for the disease. Hey, I got respect for it. Look, I don't even contemplate using a drug. Right. That motherfucker, I still got the disease of addiction's footprint on my ass. They said when you get 5 years, you hear your head pop out your ass. I'm waiting to hear the disease of addiction's foot pop out my ass. I'm talking about fearful of using anything. Look, I said on my way up here, let me show you how powerful the disease is. Are you really clean? So I started looking back to my clean day. When that last time I said, I said, man, fuck you, yeah. I'm 10 years ago. Am I really clean? That thing said you ain't clean. You walk in and speak about being clean. You ain't clean. Even called me a bitch. But you ain't clean. So I'm riding them things and I said, man, fuck you. That's what that reading is. Just for the day. It allows us to talk to ourselves. Right. Tell yourself. Tell yourself. It gives us permission. To talk. Don't tell me, tell yourself. That's right. I have to tell myself, you're clean. You're doing okay. I'm telling you, I woke up inadequate. Crazy. I'm telling you, so what the fuck I'm gonna tell them? Because I ain't doing nothing. Throwing a whole bunch of shit in my mind. Because this thing ain't just about what you do today. Right. It's about what you thinking. Look, I was at a meeting and I heard a guy say, anything you thinking is in the back of the book. I went to the back of the book and he ain't lying. There's a page for anything you thinking. I don't care what it is. And I've been doing a lot of thinking. Come on. Everything I thought so far was back there. I hear a perfect example. You know how you say, should I, shouldn't I, will I, won't I? You don't call nobody. So I said, I'm not going to do nothing and turn on the TV. Goddamn, even SpongeBob is kissing. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm looking for some strength. Every channel I turn to, the head would be missing. The head would. I'm talking about. I said, did they show this on TV? Every channel I turned on, somebody was giving somebody some head. I guess that's what they do when the head missing. They start hollering and screaming, you know. Now I'm at home, I'm trying to get my bearings together. Right. I'm trying to get myself together because I'm going to the wayside. Just left work. Nothing really happened. I drove home in the air conditioning, so it wasn't because I was hot. Physically, physically. It wasn't because I was hot mentally. Yeah, I was hot mentally. It wasn't because I was hot spiritually. That's the only thing went on. Just the idea when you start thinking about how long you've been nice. That's all. A long time. And not just nice in that way. I'm talking about not cussing nobody out.
Right.
I'm talking about helping your family out. I'm talking about saying to the neighbors, I live in my building, I think I'm about the only black that's not black. And you got them, you say, hi neighbor. And look and say, yeah. You understand? You continue to speak. I'm talking about even when people say nasty shit to you, you still say something nice. All day long, you're just trying to be nice.
Right.
You're just trying to make it home clean.
Come on.
Not just from drugs, clean. You don't want no shit. I don't want no shit. I said this earlier. I said, look, me and Carl was over there. Carl, we was teaching. I said, Carl, I just surrender. Because I just want to stay clean. And I know this for a fact, that the disease of addiction will set me up with some shit. Dirty's dirty. Dirty's dirty. You start some little cunning shit, you think I'm clever, I'm doing some little maneuver. I was buying this boy stamps. Oh, he's single. Coming out the building, damn George. Come out the building. He said, where you rushing out there? I'm buying these stamps. He said, them ain't just stamps. I said, George, I'm buying them. He said, you ain't supposed to buy them people's stamps. I get in the car, I'm just trying to be clear. I get in the car, I said, motherfucking George. So I get there and the boy wasn't there. And instead of waiting, because he probably came, I heard every bulldog. Because I just want to stay clean and that kind of little shit.
That'll set you up.
Get my car washed. I love Ralph Lauren. The boy pull out me on bright. Ralph Lauren polo, he got racks of it. And the guy washing my car, stopped washing my car. He could bring these shirts back. I don't want none. I said, God help me. I'm sitting on my hand. I got a little money in my pocket. I'm sitting on my hand. I said, God help me. Police go past and wave to the boy. He got racks of shirts out. I just want to stay clean. Fuck a polo, a Ralph Lauren, a trick. I don't want to trick. I don't want to do none of that shit. I just want to stay clean. If I use, I lose. I don't hear realize, I hear collapse. I got a lot of shit that's bangs on me just staying clean. They call me a therapist by day, but I know I'm an addict. I know that I cannot walk out here thinking that I got this shit together. I cannot afford to think that I can do a little bit of anything. Because it tells me 1 is too many and 1,000 is
Never enough. Come on.
It tells me that. It tells me that once I start going to the left, I might get stuck. That's how I got stuck in the first place. I only went over there to blow a joint.
That's all? Yeah.
I only went in there to get a 6-pack.
Yeah.
I only wanted 1 stand bag. I only wanted one. What I got going now is what I always fucking wanted.
Yeah.
I can get up in the morning and know everything's gonna be okay. I always just wanted to be okay. So I got any okay motherfuckers here. It's okay. Hey. I ain't talking about everything gonna be perfect. Just okay. I always wanted to be okay. I always wanted to be myself. Slide the family stone. Yes. I just like to thank Narcotics Anonymous for letting me be myself. Again, I'm an addict named Regina.
Once again, I'm addict named Ron. I'd like to thank Regina for that life-saving message. Now we're going to ask Barry M. to share our living please, stand, please.
Hi, I'm Barry. I'm an addict.
Hey, Barry.
I don't even know how to start. My clean date is May 13th, 1993. And I don't know, why don't I just start from the beginning? When I first came around to Narcotics Anonymous, I always like to share about when I first came around, I showed up at my mom's doorstep with 2 hefty bags full of clothes, and that was all my possessions that I had. And one of the things about that is I always share like that, but what I forget to tell people is I had more baggage than that when I came into Narcotics Anonymous. You know, I was one of them addicts that suffered from no self-esteem, no self-worth, no nothing. You know, and I had the nerve to tell the people that I don't know if I want to get clean. And they looked at me, the therapist looked at me and said, Barry, you need to sit your ass down somewhere. You need to listen to what's going on. See, I had got kicked out of that program like 7 times. I was court ordered to go to that program. Every other year I was court ordered to go to that program, and they kept kicking me out, and because of that I would violate my probation and they'd send me back in there. And they kept sending me back and sending me back for a period of 7 years. They kept doing that to me. And I kept saying, I had the nerves to keep saying that I don't know if I want to be clean. He told me to sit my ass down somewhere. He was a therapist that dealt with, like, I guess they call them trouble addicts or whatever. But everybody in my group, the wonderful thing about my group, they all felt the same damn way. You know, this was one of this, they call it an intense patient, intense therapy and shit. And the thing about this group was, we'd be there for 8 hours. They'd give us a little lunch break and we'd all ante up together and we'd go get something to use, and then we'd come back to this therapy session and pretend like we have the willingness to stay clean. And there was one particular day they said, Barry, look, you need to be going to the Narcotics Anonymous meeting. I said, okay, I'm gonna go to these Narcotics Anonymous meetings, but I ain't going, I try to lie. I wanted to say I ain't going to stay clean, but I'm going to go to these Narcotics Anonymous meetings and shit. So I go to these Narcotics Anonymous meetings, and I started out going to these Narcotics Anonymous meetings with sunglasses on, newspaper. I had the newspaper wrapped up in the basic text. I'm sitting in the back of the room with sunglasses on, and I'm reading the newspaper, everything's going on, and then when that secretary would do her little announcements, I'd run up there and give that paper to her, she'd sign it, and I'd run out the room. But I still didn't recognize I had a problem and stuff. But I kept going back because I needed that paper signed. And I'd go in the group and I'd perpetrate such a fraud it wasn't even funny. You know, and I'd sit back there in that group and allow him to pick on each and every individual, but as soon as he got to me, I would be defensive. He would say stuff like, Barry, are you participating at the meeting? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? I say, yeah, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and everything. Did you get a sponsor yet? Yeah, I got a sponsor. I didn't have no sponsor. Hell, I didn't even know what a sponsor was. Because the whole time when I was going to the meetings, I'm reading the newspaper like I really cared what the fuck was going on with me, or what was going on with the city of New Kent. I'm from a small town in New Kensington. And I really didn't give a shit. I just needed something to occupy my mind so I didn't have to listen to them sorry-ass addicts and you know, and I can remember like they had somebody come from the city, and he came and he did his, he started sharing and shit. He started talking about how sickly he was when he was growing up, and he was in and out of hospital, and that's for the first time in my life I put down that newspaper and I started listening, because the man seemed like he was sharing my story. You know, and I started listening and I said, ooh, wow. And the crazy thing about it is, I'm going to tell you how messed up I was. I thought the guy was stealing my thoughts. I'm looking down at the coffee because I'm wondering what they got in it, because I'm not totally sure about Narcotics Anonymous in the first place, because you get in that big circle and you start doing the prayer and everything, and I think you say there's some kind of cult. I really did. But anyway, he tells a story and everything. At the end of the meeting, I had the nerve to go up to him. I started talking to him, and he started sharing his experience and his strengths and his hope. And for the first time in my life, I finally got a little hope. I finally thought maybe I could get clean. Now there was half of me that still wanted to use, so I concocted up a good idea. Here's what I was going to do. I was going to stay clean a little bit, and then on check day, I was going to pay all my bills, then I'd blow all the money getting high. I wanted to learn how to use successfully. And it says that in the basic text, it talks about that, but I wanted to learn how to use successfully. I wanted to make sure that I could keep my lights on, pay the water. How the hell can you get your water cut off? I mean, isn't water like $20 every 3 months or something? At the end of my road, there was no water in my house. We were lighting the crack house with candles. There's rodents walking past, and nobody gave a shit. I'd be like jumping up on the bed and shit. I'd be like, there's a rat, and they'd be like, pass me the pipe. And that's where I really came from and stuff. So this guy tells me his stuff, and I got this new plan that I'm gonna play on the tracks. And I'm going to do all right. I'm going to be successful and everything. It would have really boiled down to I couldn't do both of them. You know, because I'd be going to Narcotics Anonymous, half-ass participating. Then I'd go to a crack house, and then I'm hearing Just for the Day in the back of my damn head while I'm smoking crack. And it was like and I had like spiritual warfare going off in my head. And for some strange reason, I started wanting to really get clean, and I couldn't get clean. I couldn't get clean for shit. I remember the last time I used, my friend came up to me to pick me up, and I'm trying to hide it. How the hell you smoke crack all day and shit, and you know your jaw's moving back and forth. Now I'm trying to play it off. He comes in, and he comes over, and he said, Barry, you ready for the meeting? I'm trying to hold my jaws intact. I said, I quit. I said, give me a minute. I'm gonna go to the meeting. He said, no, you just stay there. Before he left, there was a tear coming down his eye, and I couldn't understand how a man could love me more than I love myself. You know, and it hurt me here. You know, another thing that hurted me is when I kept dragging my sorry ass back to my mom's house, who had me with a curfew, 12 o'clock. I'm 29 years old, have to be home at 12 o'clock. And she didn't mind locking the damn door on me. And when she would lock that door, I'd curl up on her little glider, and she'd pray like hell a cat wouldn't jump up on me. You know, so as he leaves and shit, he fucked up my whole high. I don't know what to do now, because something in me saying, Barry, you need to stay clean. And I see him crying and all that shit, and I'm starting to think, Barry, you need to love yourself. And I'm not loving myself. Somebody else is loving me until I learn how to love myself. I started applying myself in NA for some reason. I woke up the next damn morning, nobody had to come get me. I was at the damn meeting. You know, and I started making meetings. Now I'm half-assed, I ain't gonna lie, at the meeting, but I'm showing up by myself this time. You know, and I'm seriously thinking about surrender. And I'm going to these meetings, and lo and behold, my friend shows up again. He started introducing me to people, and he introduces me to this one guy. He's about 6'4", 6'5", long stringy hair and a beard. He looks like one of Hell's Angels. By the way, he was a white dude. He was big. He was very big and very intimidating, and I weigh all about 120 damn pounds. He introduced me to him. He asked me, was I going to meetings regularly? And what I consider regularly is when I got there.
Come on, Barry.
He said, Barry, you need to go to meetings regularly. You got a sponsor? I said, no, I ain't got no sponsor. He took me over to another guy who I knew from the streets. And he said, he'd be a good sponsor. But the reason why I picked the guy to be my sponsor was all for the wrong reason. First of all, I wanted to satisfy the group. Second of all, I picked him because he was the only black guy in the room.
Okay.
You know, so I picked him, I go up to him shaking like a leaf and I asked him to be my sponsor. He said, I don't know. Now, up until then, I thought this was loving and caring people. And I thought that when somebody asked you to sponsor them, you just automatically say no. I mean, yeah. But he fooled the hell out of me. He said no. And I was like to myself, who the fuck he think he is? Don't he know who I am? He said, you're from New Canaan and you hang down on that 5th Avenue down there and all you just do is cause trouble and fight each other, drink that nasty ass wine and shit, and I don't think you really want to be clean. So I started walking away. He said, wait a minute. If you can show me you can stay clean for 30 days, I'll be your sponsor. And I haven't used since then. But he kind of like... He kind of like deflated my ego, because even going to my house with them 2 garbage bags still didn't mess with my ego. You know, I still thought I was the shit, you know, but slowly but surely I kept making the meetings. You know, I started calling my sponsor, didn't know how to talk on the telephone. I told you I had no self-esteem. I would call him and say, hi, this is Barry, and that was all I could say. You know, in the beginning, that's all I could say. But thank God he was a talkative person, because he started sharing his experience strengths with me and shit, until I was able just to say, I feel good today, or I feel bad, or I'm going through something and shit. But he kept working with me, and then this big tall hippie dude, he's taking me to meetings against, well, I want to say against my will. Because at this, he used to show up at my house. I wouldn't tell him I was going to meetings. And he was such an intimidating guy. He was intimidating like hell. I'd be mumbling to the car like I was like, motherfucker won't even let me sleep. And this guy was not my sponsor. He was just another concerned, recovering addict trying to help me. You know, and then he'd give me assignments in the basic text. He told me that I got to read the basic text. He told me I needed to hit my knees. But my sponsor right there, he used to tell me the same thing, and I was doing it for him, so why he telling me to read different chapters? He want me to read the whole damn book. So I was afraid of him. So I did a lot of money. And his ass would check up on you. He'd show up at all times. How you doing, Barry? I need to say I had moved out of my mom's house. Because first of all, I was scared to move out of her house. They gave me some kind of government assistance and got me an apartment, paid the first and last month's rent. I was at my mom's house for 3 months. I had that apartment for 3 months. I'm scared as hell to move in there. My mom said, Barry, all right now. Now, she don't know about Narcotics Anonymous and shit, but I was afraid to go live in that house because up until then, all my houses have been fucking crack/whore houses. They all have been, since I was 19, got my first apartment, they all been /crack house, hoe house, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't know how to live, and I didn't know how to tell my mom I didn't know how to live on my own. Yes. So it took me 3 months to go live there, and I was scared as hell the first night. Didn't have no damn telephone, but this dude would come by. I opened the door. I used to greet him at the door because I didn't want nobody to see how I was living. But I was living clean. Yeah. You know, but I didn't want him to see that I had I don't even know if you could consider it a twin bed. The thing was more like a stretcher. It was more like a stretcher. And I'd meet him at the door real quick because I was ashamed. Right. So anyway, he comes in the house one day, he just brushed past me. And he looked in the apartment and shit and said, damn, no wonder you go to so many meetings and shit. Bring that shit in here. So I go, so he takes me up to his house, open his garage door, and there's all kinds of shit in there. He said, take what you want. Now I need to tell you that I'm a selfish, egotistic bastard that says something sort of similar to this. I want to start from scratch. Meanwhile, I ain't got no damn couch, no TV, no nothing, but a damn cot. Stretcher thing. So he helped me out. He didn't have to holler at me or lecture me in any way. He just started grabbing shit and putting it in his car. And he just took it to my house, put pictures up and shit. And I'm running around the house, grumbling and shit, because I don't know how to talk to him. You know, and I do this in a joking manner and everything, but this guy, man, he was God sent. This guy was as much as part of my recovery as my sponsor was, in my weed. This guy just stood there and stayed with me and nurtured me. He got me through the rough times and the good times. One of the things I hated about him was every time I had a good time in Narcotics Anonymous, he used to say, this too will pass. You know when you make a good ass accomplishment like your first year clean and shit and you're on one of them highs and shit. Nobody can't tell you shit. You got your little key tag and shit. He used to say, this too will pass. I used to say, man, I don't like that one. And a lot of other people didn't like him, but what I forgot to tell everybody is this guy never hollered at me. He was the most gentle guy I ever seen. He is big. I was judging the book by its cover. He was big. He knew how to work the steps. He knew how to connect with his sponsor. He taught me that shit. How to connect with my sponsor. I mean, my sponsor was a loving and caring guy too, but somehow, some way, it was like I had two damn sponsors, and they was working me overtime. They worked me so well that I got up in group and shit and got to doing speeches and shit, and the guy said, I'm going to need a yarn. Because I'm right. Here's what happened. I'm walking up the hill to this therapy session and shit, and the sun is shining a little brighter. I'm hearing the birds chirp for the first time and shit, and I'm feeling real good. I'm feeling real good. What was happening was I was transferred. You know, I'm going up this hill and I'm happy as hell. It was a spiritual awakening. For the first time in my life, I wanted to stay clean.
Okay, man.
And I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to stay clean.
Come on, Barry.
It no longer mattered if the probation officer was checking up on me. The damn probation officer one time was hiding behind a tree on his knees looking at me like this and shit. It no matter. It didn't matter anymore. It didn't matter about that damn therapist. The therapist that always was trying to make me go to jail. I don't know if it was his job, but it seemed like he tear you down, but he don't build you back up.
Yeah.
He kept tearing me down and telling me I can't do this and I can't do this and I'll never make it and all this shit. Look, I was in a group of 19 addicts. 19, they were all like me. And most of them was worse than me. And he said, he went around the room, said they all will be successful except for me. And I would get mad at that shit, and I'm the one making meetings, I'm the one hitting my damn knees, I'm the one doing everything right, and he picked on me like that. So I'm walking up this damn mountain, it's harder than hell, and usually when I'm walking up this damn mountain, I'm cussing. Because I'm mad they're making me go through all this shit. But God had a plan. You know, I'm walking up this mountain, it's hard as it's about 95 degrees. I'm sweating a little bit, but that ain't nothing. I'm going up there, I'm whistling and shit. I come in the group and shit, and I'm I think I can run it myself. You know, but I get in there and I'm clowning around and he's asking me questions and asking me did I make the meeting and I'm telling him yeah, and all this other shit. He said, I'm gonna need a urine. I was totally okay with it. For the first time in my life, I could give him a clean urine and not have to worry about it. You know, and meanwhile, I'm back in Narcotics Anonymous, man. Weeks go by, wait a minute, days go by, weeks go by, months go by, like 2, 3, I had 3 years clean. I'd say, look, I went from couldn't stand to be in that recovery environment to they had to kick me the hell out of it. The right way, though. They asked me would I teach a group in there. You know, so I ended up being around that place for about 6 damn years. The years start flying by, I'm doing real well and everything, and I'm thinking I'm doing okay and shit, and I had no, like, real drama in my life because I'm working the steps, I'm using the sponsor, I'm using the weed, I'm fully participating in Narcotics Anonymous, and I'm feeling good about myself. I'm almost feeling guilty. You know, and more years are going by. No trouble, everything's fine, I'm still making little meetings here and there and shit. Couple more years go by. I'm going to too many Narcotics Anonymous meetings. Nobody told me how many years a person's supposed to go when they got multiples of years. You know, I mean, when you got 15, 16 years, nobody told me what's an acceptable amount. You know, when I'm drifting in and out of Narcotics Anonymous, you know, I'm doing that real quick drive-by shit. I'm going in there late and I'm leaving early and everything's changing in my life for the good. I'm thinking for the good. And then I go to the doctor one day and the doctor said I'm gonna need blood work and everything, and I do the blood work for him and I give him a little urine and I go about my business. Then the doctor calls me back in his office. He said, I want you to go to the specialist, a urologist, because I think you're PSA or S or whatever the hell, prostate cancer. Put it that way, that doctor. I go to him and he does this biopsy, and I don't know if anybody had one of them biopsies looking at the prostate and shit, but they hurt like hell. They take a tube about this long, and you know, they don't numb you up. The first part, they don't numb you up, so if you're a virgin back there and shit, your ass hurt like hell and you're clenching like hell and they're telling you to unclench and they shove that thing down there. And I'm trying to hold on for dear life because I was a virgin at the time. They pour this shit down in I feel this cool sensation going down my butt, well, in my ass, and then up my whole ass. And they're pulling and prodding and they're taking tissue out of there and I go home. Well, first of all, I felt good. They said, you may pass a little blood and everything. I get out of there and my wife said, do you feel good enough to go shopping? I always, when it ain't my money, I always enjoy shopping. She said, you feel like going shopping? I said, honey, you know I don't have any money. Don't worry about it, Barry. Okay, let's go. I go to go shopping and I said, oh, I gotta pee. I go in there, and nothing but blood came out. I said, oh, Lord. I said, I think I'm going to die. I go back out. I said, honey, I think you better take me home. But to make a long story short, they ended up calling me back, and the lady says nonchalantly, you have cancer. And when they tell me I have cancer, I'm like, oh, because I'm disconnected from Narcotics Anonymous now. I mean, I'm clean, I'm abstinent, I'm not working on shit, I'm not calling nobody, you know, hell, and my weed is starting to crumble because I'm not calling them, you know, and they tell me I got cancer and shit, I'm wondering who do I turn to? See, because I forgot to pray too. You know, that's one of the first things to go, is the praying and shit. What the hell am I going to get on my knees for? God knows I love him. You know, and I'm one of them addicts who believe in getting in a humbling posture. I like to get down on my knees when I talk to my God and stuff. But no, I'm no longer doing that. I'm talking to God going down the highway and shit. And I didn't like that anyway. So they tell me I got cancer, and they said, Barry, 90% of the cases is curable. I said, ooh, okay. No, and they give me 3 ways they can take care of it. And one of them was shooting radioactive balls or bees up there and shit, and it kills the cancer. And I said, ooh, that's the one I want, because I didn't really want anybody going back up there. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't want nobody going back up there and shit. And he said, no, we go the other way. We put this incision right here, and we shoot them radioactive balls up there. And he had me going, and I'm telling my wife, this is the procedure for me. This is the procedure for me. You know what made me say no? I better take the one, the other operation. He said, this ain't 90%. So if it don't work, there's a chance you'll die. So I said, what about the other procedure? He said, oh, this one, we'll just take the whole prostate out and you should be okay and stuff. And I felt, okay, we're gonna take the prostate out and everything. He said, this is an operation, take a couple of hours, you'll be in the hospital 3 days. But what I thought was gonna be 3 days turned into terror. I had no God, I had no weed, I had no nothing. I was lonely as hell. I had my wife who's in recovery, and I would talk to her, but I just couldn't talk to her about the men issues. You know, what's going to happen down here after they do that? You know, but anyway, they start doing, I go in there and they have surgery and shit, and I'm thinking I'm going to be okay. My wife they bring me home the 3rd day. I have a catheter. Now, I'm totally ashamed of this catheter. They said, oh, you can go anywhere with this catheter and everything. And I'm like, no, I ain't going nowhere with this catheter. And I'm afraid anyway that if you hit the catheter the wrong way, it might fall out. And if it falls out, they're going to have to knock me out, because there's no way in hell they're putting a hose up in my penis while I'm awake. But anyway, I go home and I happen to look down at this catheter, and the catheter bag and shit is filling up versus pink, and then the catheter is all red. And I called my wife at work. I said, honey, is there supposed to be blood in the bag? She said, I don't know, let me call the doctor. The doctor said, rush him in there. You better rush him in there. And here's what happened. Because of the operation, I had a blood clot. They had to rush my kidneys was slowly but surely shutting down. Meanwhile, all that fluid wasn't no longer going in the bag, it was going in my stomach, so I looked like I was pregnant, and the whole time I felt like I was going to explode. You know, and they actually did operate on me, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm out of the woods. But I wasn't out of the woods. What was supposed to be one surgery turned into 3 surgeries. You know, and the whole time I have nobody. I just have my wife, and I'm talking to her, I'm feeling like shit, and I'm thinking I want to die. Matter of fact, I do want to die. Please help me die. That's what I was saying. That's how I was talking to the God of my understanding and stuff. And then as I thought I was getting well, I'm thinking I'm sweating, and the sweat came from here to here, and I take this thing and I wipe down, and it's all blood. I said, whoa. I said, look, my wife, look, she panics like hell. Get every damn nurse on the damn floor to come in here and tell us what's going on. And here it was hemorrhoids. And they took and did that emergency surgery for the 3rd time. Now the 3rd time was probably the worst, because in between that, they asked me, did I need pain medication? And up until then, little Vicodins and Percodins or whatever, they was working fine, but this shit was hurting. I said, this stuff ain't working, the morphine ain't working, none of this shit is working, nurse. She said, okay, I'll be right back. She came with some shit in the needle. She put that shit in and fucking sparks start flying. I've never heard the Beatles sing Lucy in the Skies with Diamonds, but I heard that shit that day. My whole world got turned upside down. This this cancer thing is went too far. I have no God of my understanding. I have no we and stuff, but I thought I didn't have a we. But the very people that came and helped me in the beginning came to the hospital and helped me through the situation. The one guy who cried for me came back and said, Barry, you're going to be all right. They went to wheel me down to the surgery, and he asked her, now I'm hurting like hell, and he asked the nurse, can you give us a moment? I didn't want no moment without going to the shot. Okay, so he asked the nurse, and he prayed like he never prayed before. And for the first time in my life, I started believing again. I said, God, if you get me out of this one, I ain't never going to get disconnected like that ever again. You know, I believe that I am clean, and I believe today I am living clean. And that's been like 2-3 years ago almost, and since I've been going to meetings steadily. There you go. And I work every day, and I still feel the need to plan meetings around my recovery. So I'm not only being clean, I'm living clean. I'm working the steps. I'm calling my sponsor. I'm doing the we. I'm doing the things that just as suggested in the beginning. Because if it worked for me before, it'll work for me again.
That's right there.
I'm an addict called Barry.
All right.